Kurt Angle spoke to dozens of media entities over the past week while hyping TNA's debut in primetime. He was featured in 2 similar stories in 2 major Pittsburgh newspapers. Pittsburgh is his hometown. He was also a guest on many radio shows during the week, covering many of the same topics he did during his TNA media conference call. He said he had been drug tested since signing with TNA. He said AJ Styles is the greatest athlete in pro wrestling, but he lacks charisma. He said he's going to teach Styles that missing aspect. He said Joe is the most naturally gifted wrestler in wrestling, more gifted than I am. He raved about him wrestling like he weighs 205 pounds despite being 300 plus pounds. And now we have a whole ream of notes about the various things Kurt Angle talked about and people having concerns, etc. from his various interviews.
Just strap in and just prepare for some peak Kurt Angle. Pun not intended.
Yeah, that is his new official name. He is Peak Angle. They named him that. Ugh. I do find it fun that WWE announced the signing of Monty Brown. TNA is not mentioned whatsoever. Every time Kurt Angle opens his mouth about signing with TNA, he's like, let me tell you about Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
While Kurt was diplomatic about Vince McMahon, saying he loves him and considers him a second father, despite having serious differences with him, he was less forgiving toward former colleagues Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Sorry,
Hickenbottom Levesque.
To do our VK impression, which we will talk about on this month's episodes when we get to the broad topics. During an interview on the Ron and Fez radio show, he said he is better than Shawn Michaels. Quote from Kurt Angle: Shawn Michaels is entertaining, but as soon as he gets in the ring, the first thing he wants to do is start chopping. I hate chopping. I hate punches. I hate all that stuff. Why do you think they call it wrestling? Shawn's great, don't get me wrong, but he's more an entertainer. I look real. Shawn Michaels always has a smirk on his face. How can you take him seriously? Undertaker has a great look. When he gets in the ring, he looks like he's getting to wrestle a martial arts competition. Famously, that's what I think about when I see The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
He said the next time he sees Shawn, he expects him to confront him about his comments. He says Shawn Michaels will put up a fight but lose. He said Triple H will, quote, go in the corner and suck his thumb. He won't even try to fight me.
At least he's Shawn has a little chutzpah in him. He's just Triple H is a big bitch and won't do anything ever.
Yeah, Shawn will throw down and get his ass kicked. Triple H will just back away. According to Kurt, after Vince McMahon found out that Kurt had signed with TNA, he began lying. Kurt said that he wasn't released or fired. It was mutual, and he passed every drug test for painkillers in the last 18 months. Kurt began talking about the old times in WWE. Kurt mentioned how it was he and Steve Austin who did their creative during WWE's hot run. Kurt said they never had any writers. Kurt mentioned how Vince made Kurt turn down 26 movie offers while working for WWE. Kurt said that working for Vince made him feel like he was in a prison. Kurt said that he could have sued Vince McMahon over 1 million times, but never did.
Should have done that.
But no, he doesn't have any problems. It's like a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt brought up times he was severely injured in shows and Vince still made Kurt go back out for a job. Kurt brought up when he asked Vince if he could go to rehab, but Vince said that he was an Olympic gold medalist and a tough son of a bitch and didn't need to go to rehab, especially because he was one of his top guys. Kurt later said that Vince isn't a bad guy. He just cares about business more than the guys.
He just cares about business more than ethics or morals or guys or people that work for him, his family, general understanding of human decency, pretty much anything that's positive in this damn world.
He's not a bad guy, Liam. He just wants to exploit their physical health for profit until they're run into the ground.
And then discard them and bury them, not to mention all of his other horrible sex crimes.
Jerry McDevitt, WWE legal counsel, just delivered a letter to this podcast, and no, he said, the WWE cares greatly about Kurt Angle, the person, and Kurt Angle, the performer. It is our hope that he applies that huge and creative heart of his in the right direction, so that we can all see that happen.
Okay. Heavy Shot was saying huge heart.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's such a little jab.
That's very much, that man's going to die of a heart attack any day now because of the bad health he's in, and I'm saying that in a coded way.
Don't look into the fact that he's doing it under our watch for the last 15 years.
Dixie Carter said,
oh, sorry, it's been a while. TNA has a strict drug policy and does not tolerate illegal drugs or substance abuse on any level.
Thank you, Dixie. That's definitely true.
I agree.
Because I've been looking at the Dixie Carter Congress interview or her interview before the government around the time of the Benoit stuff.
Yep.
And we will get into TNA's drug testing policies in depth.
More in depth than their drug testing policies.
Definitely.
The drug testing policy of, did you take drugs? Nah. All right.
PW Torch received emails from people connected with 2 radio stations with whom Angle did interviews that week, stating they were concerned for his well-being. Colleagues of Angle say there is always concern about relapses when someone has been admitted to being a drug addict in the past, especially when they're pushing themselves mentally and physically on the road. But note that he possibly has enough neurological damage from drugs and bumps over the years that he'll always sound a little out of it, especially early in the morning after 2 hard days of PR work. TNA publicist Stephen Godfrey tells PW Torch.
I thought that was what he said, and I was like, he's a terrible publicist.
Nobody cares about his health more than we do, is what he said. Not, yeah, he's always a little zoned out, it's fine.
I really thought that's what he said.
He says TNA continues to closely monitor Angle's health and made sure someone from TNA is with him at all times on publicity appearances. Last week it was Ross Foreman. So I'm of 2 minds about this kind of quote. Mm-hmm. I guess it's fine to be concerned about Kurt Angle's well-being, especially during a time where, like, he was perhaps fired due to his currently declining health. But also, like, the Kurt Angle's about to die watch just feels gross.
I mean, yeah, it's obviously PR.
Yeah. So, you think this is WWE PR?
Yeah, 100%. I think this is like WWE, like, being like, oh, look at this shit he's saying about us. We should make him seem like a crazy, insane person who's about to die at any moment. It shouldn't be taken seriously.
Yeah, especially if you have, like, unverified, people who worked for radio stations he did interviews with.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like it's very clearly, like, them protecting their back or whatever.
Also, like, he is doing radio interviews. If he was zonked out of it, he's there on tape.
I was going to say, you would probably be able to hear it.
Yeah. Angle sat gorilla position in recent TNA tapings. He was fully engaged in everything happening during the show. By contrast, Sting usually finds the TV and isolated himself backstage during events, only occasionally walking out to watch a match or socialize. That feels right, though.
You're just believing the character of Sting. You think he's up in the fucking rafters watching it on his little TV.
He is. He's up there with his bird and his scorpion, and they're on their little monitor, and they're having a nice time together. And you can buy a t-shirt at the link in the right.
That's what he's looking at. He's looking at the advertisement for the t-shirt.
Damn right. And he's like, damn, that's a great shirt. I wish I could have bought that. Oh, wait, I can. I can go buy that right now.
And I can subscribe to the Patreon to get less, to make sure I pay less for it?
Whoa, Sting likes a deal. But, like, it does feel more like Sting is the guy who you have to go to, and Kurt's the guy who will come to you, I think. I feel like, personality-wise, those are, like, how those men work.
It does seem like that. Well, it's probably, personality-wise, right? Sting just seems a little more reserved.
Yeah, he just doesn't feel like the guy who just gets in there with everybody, whereas Kurt, I think, kind of is.
Yeah.
After Angle has come across so positive about TNA, and nobody has heard Christian even for a moment question his move, there are a lot more people in WWE at least quietly discussing the possibilities of TNA that under other circumstances wouldn't consider it. It's very unique because for the first time that Dave can ever recall in the business, you see people leaving WWE on their own accord, like Christian, Jericho, Lita, Trish Stratus, and many others are talking about it. Dave knows that several are close. Dave knows that several close to the top guys who are close to the top guys is such a clumsy turn of phrase, Dave. Jesus, who are talking about their contracts are coming up. I should really copy edit Dave before I write this stuff into the notes.
Can I try?
Go on.
I know of several close to the top.
Yeah, it's such a clumsy phrase.
I know of several people close to the top guys who are talking about when their contracts are up, coming over to the easier schedule, not worrying about it being less money. That might be one of the worst written sentences I've ever heard in my damn life.
This man has written for a living for 40 years. That is an interesting thing that we like. That was always like the value proposal of TNA. That they're like,
and AEW.
It is a little bit AEW. You probably have to wrestle harder in AEW for it.
You know what it is? But you know what it is now? It's like an easier schedule, but more money as well.
Yeah.
But like WWE doesn't do house shows anymore, so the schedule thing is less of a debate, I think.
Yeah, you're working, unless you're on one of those European tours, those are still like the last bastion of like the old WWE schedule. You're working once or twice a week now when you're working for WWE.
Kind of crazy. Like,
yeah,
just growing up in an era where it was like the road.
Because I think I saw Kevin Owens talking about that recently, where he's like, it's nice to be home with my family, but also like I'm kind of home with my family all the time anyway, even when I'm working, because we don't do house shows anymore.
Yeah, it's, like the whole thing. It's funny with the Triple H run from the grind thing. It's like, what grind? It's the same fucking grind.
If anything, AEW probably runs, because they run twice a week and they don't have split rosters. Well, they kind of have loosely split rosters, I guess.
But also,
there are
like
people.
They work harder, so it's like. Like, the grind is AEW, I hate to say.
Yeah, because like FTR got like in their feelings rightfully about that recently. Where like, we worked Dynamite and Collision most weeks for like 3 years. We're like the hardest working guys in wrestling, and also do occasional indie shots.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was like the value proposition of TNA, where they were like, yeah, less money, but also substantially less dates. It's like 2 to 4 dates a month. So you'll make like 300, 400 grand for that much, as opposed to making 700, 800 grand for losing 2/3, 3/4 of your month to work. So you will see Booker T, for example, I think is probably a great example of somebody who's like, that seems much easier. Let's go do that for a while.